All right, so here we have proof that the new SAT is going to include some double passages, but thankfully they are way, way shorter than the passages on the current version of the test. But it doesn't change our strategy. So when we have these kind of both passage questions on the current test, the strategy I always said is just like keep it really simple. Read the blurb if they have one and try to think, do they agree? Do they disagree? Is there something else going on? And most of the time it's either agree or disagree, and most of the time it's actually disagree. So that would really help us for a lot of those double passages, just kind of knowing that. And then as we read them, even if we didn't perfectly understand them, we'd be like, oh yeah, I see it, they don't agree. So we're gonna try to do the same thing here, right? They're asking in a weird way, how would Caceres and colleagues from text 2 most likely describe the view of the theorist presented in text 1? Don't worry about the weirdness of this question. They're asking you what's the relationship between the passages, right? This is just SAT speak for what's the relationship. So let's try to get it. Text 1. What factors influence the abundance of species in a given ecological community? Some theorists have argued that historical diversity is a major driver of how diverse an ecological community eventually becomes. So, okay, the theorist, that's from the question, right? The theorists. Diversity is a driver of how diverse an ecological community eventually becomes. Okay, differences in community, diversity across otherwise similar habitats in this view are strongly affected by the number of species living in those habitats at earlier times. Okay, so diversity, major driver. Okay. Text 2. In 2010, a group of researchers, including biologist Carlos Caceres, created artificial pools in a New York forest. They stocked some pools with a diverse mix of zooplankton species and others with a single zooplankton species and allowed the pool communities to develop naturally thereafter. Over the course of 4 years, Caceres and colleagues periodically measured the species diversity of the pools, finding, contrary to their expectations, that by the end of the study there was little to no difference in the pool's species diversity. So, diversity does not matter, right? So they disagree because these people said diversity does matter. It's a major driver, right? Diversity matters. So even here, I'm getting a little too complicated. What's the relationship? In a way, they basically disagree, right? The theorist said one thing, Caceres found something else. There's a disagreement. So what choice kind of sounds like disagreement? Let's see. Choice A, it is largely correct, but it requires a minor refinement in light of the researchers' team's results. No, correct does not mean disagreement. Okay, it means that means agreement. So we want disagreement. It is not compelling as a theory, regardless of any experimental data collected by the research team. Well, okay, I kind of like this, not compelling. That kind of seems a little strong at the end, but we'll come back to it. C, it may seem plausible, but it is not supported by the research team's findings. So, okay, not supported also sounds like disagreement. So, okay, that might be good. D, it probably holds true only in conditions like those in the research team study. No. We just said it doesn't hold true. So, no, it's wrong. The theory is wrong. So now it's between B and C. And we've seen this before on other new SAT questions that if we are between two choices, the weaker choice is probably better. And I think C is definitely weaker here. It may seem plausible, but it is not supported by the research team's findings. Notice it kind of says that the theory might actually be true or be logical. It's not insulting the people who believed it. It's just saying, like, we didn't find any support for it. But choice B, it is not compelling as a theory. That's saying the theory was just wrong from the get-go. Well, if it was wrong, then why did Caceres even bother experimenting with it, right? They tried it out, and they expected, here's the key part, contrary to their expectations, they thought the theory would be true. So they were surprised when they ended up disagreeing with the theory. So C is definitely weaker, and whenever you get down to two choices, try to find the weaker choice. It's almost always going to be right.